Hi, and welcome to the Poultry Nerds podcast. I'm Carrie Blackman, and I'm here with my co-host for the show, Jennifer Bryant, and we're here to help you figure out how to raise the healthiest, happiest, and highest quality birds possible.
Poultry Nerds, we're here with Savannah from the Hot Mess Homestead. This is our special guest. Savannah, tell us about your homestead. How did you get the name for Hot Mess?
Because I'm the biggest hot mess ever. And I was talking about what I wanted to name our homestead, and everybody uses their last name. And I was trying to think of something. And this is before I had started my social media. And I'm really glad I did it this way. But I was like, I don't really like the way our last name sounds, boring. And I was like, I like the Hot Mess Homestead, but that doesn't sound very professional. And maybe I shouldn't do that, because I was thinking maybe one day it would be like a professional type of thing. And my mom was like, girl, no, you need to be the Hot Mess Homestead. So I went ahead and went with that. And it just works perfectly. If you've seen my social media, it definitely fits the vibe. I am not the aesthetic homestead. I don't have my life together. And it ended up turning into more of a, not a brand, but like a community of other people who feel like they don't fit in a lot of the homestead community, because they may be like me and may not always have their stuff together. Maybe they have ADHD, whatever it is. And so that's just how we went with it, because my mom has always said I'm a hot mess. Lovingly. It's true. And so, yeah, that's just how we came up with the name. It just organically came to me because I've always been called a hot mess.
I'm kind of new to TikTok even now. And so when I first found you, my friend was on TikTok. And I would message her and I was like, send me the video of the girl with the green hair. I can't find her on Facebook. I don't know how many times she had to send me the videos.
That's what a lot of people call me. They're like, that chicken lady with the green hair. And I'm like, I'll take it. It's an easy description.
Oh, yeah.
But looking at your videos, they're not really hot mess. That's typical homesteading stuff.
I think it's probably more realistic than it is hot mess. I always say I'm normalizing normal homesteads, because I've never been to an aesthetic homestead. I have no friends that have an aesthetic homestead. I see them on Pinterest, but I have never encountered one in real life.
Okay, that was weird. So how long have you been on social media, and how did you get started with the characters?
So I have always tinkered with social media, but really just,
That's okay. You're the mess.
hold on. I specifically lectured them. I was like, don't come anywhere near the house. And here they are running up and yelling. I tinkered on social media doing my Facebook videos for like my personal Facebook, and like my friends would laugh, react to it. And I was just always very extroverted and like to put on like silly shows and just goof around. But when I ended up moving from the city that I lived in, I was married, had 3 kids. We lived in a regular 1,800 square foot house. I had never homesteaded before. I had chickens for a little bit in my backyard till my neighbor called animal control on me. That was fun. The day they came and took my chickens, and they wrote me a citation and were like, you can only have 6. And I had 10, and I told them I had 8. And they were like, oh, we have to get rid of them and only have 6. So the day I gave them to a friend, I found my first egg. I was so irritated. I was like, oh, this time I got 1 egg out of it. But so I never homesteaded before. Don't come from a line of homesteaders. We're city people, always like the country. We ended up moving onto this land with my parents. We decided to move together. It's a very long story. And we ended up getting a shed house. So a little 600 square foot shed house. And my husband was able to quit his job to be able to find a different job and not work 70 hours a week. And I decided I'm going to just share this journey on TikTok, because I know so many people want a different, slower lifestyle. Jokes on me, slower, not necessarily. More simple maybe, but not any slower. And I just made a video of our journey selling our house in the city, moving into a shed in the country, and starting to get chickens and a little garden. And it just went viral, and it just started from there, just grew very organically. And I'm always goofy. I have ADHD. So there's always different things popping up in my brain. And so I was like, oh, I should make a skit about this. Or somebody would message me something really dumb on Facebook. And I'd be like, I should turn this into a video, because I know so many people can relate to the Facebook messages. You post where you're located. 5 times in the post and they're like, "Oh, where are you located?" And you just want to rip your hair out. Like, so that's just how it went. It just organically happened.
So what's the time frame there?
That was 3 years ago when we moved. It was 3 years ago in July. So it hasn't been that long.
It has not. You've got like 300,000 or 400,000 followers now, don't you?
Yeah, I have 3 something on TikTok and 2 something on Facebook. And then I don't really do YouTube or Instagram. Really don't know what it's out there. I don't ever really use it.
Yeah, I don't use it either. So a lot of the farm pages, and I'm mostly on Facebook, and I try to tinker with TikTok, but I'm not good at it. And a lot of the farm pages are always posting about how they want to grow and make money on Facebook and all this stuff and be monetized. Would you have any advice for those people?
Yes and no. I always tell people this because they message me a lot. Like, hey, I want to be able to grow on social media too. What do you suggest? I did not do things the average way of if you were to Google like how to grow on social media and they're like, oh, post 3 to 5 times a day. Make sure you're looking at what time you post, what day you post, use the viral sounds. I don't really necessarily encourage that specifically for people to do because it creates a very not authentic connection with people. And to me, I want to have followers that are engaging, that feel like they're getting something from my content, that feel like they know me in real life. And for me, that's not going to happen organically if you're just posting 3 to 4 times a day just to be able to post. Because for me, I can tell when people are trying to do that. Like I can tell when people are trying to get followers and that's like their only, and that's okay. That's your only goal. But I feel like a lot of people want to do more than that. Yeah, have people actually, I know it sounds silly, but care about you as a person and you can get to know people and like have a community. And that, especially when you're using it for business, because if we're trying to monetize on social media, it's usually if you're a homesteader or you sell chickens or you sell goat's milk soap or whatever it is, you want those to be able to be intertwined and build off of each other. And that wasn't something I originally did because I wasn't originally planning on ever trying to ship eggs or breeding chickens or any of that kind of stuff. So I learned some things from that. But I always tell people, I'm like, be yourself. And I know that sounds so cheesy, but just be yourself because you don't want to be putting on a show or anything like that. And you're going to end up finding your people with whatever personality trait you have, whether that is you're shy or you're very extroverted. Don't try to be silly if you're not silly. Like just be yourself. Make sure that you have quality videos. Now, that doesn't mean you have to always use like a ring light and use a camera instead of your phone, but it's people automatically are going to scroll if you have it really blurry and fuzzy and it's in a dark room. And people either on social media, they either want to be learning something and being educated on something, or they want to be entertained, whether that's in a goofy way or in a relatable entertainment. People like to watch people put up their groceries. That's a form of entertainment. For some reason, sometimes we like that. We'll sit there and watch people organize their pantry or whatever it is on social media. And so you want to either do one of those 2 things, and you can incorporate that into your everyday homestead life. You don't have to stress about it. Just start posting the kind of bedding you use in your coop and why. Start posting you collecting eggs. That's one of my most popular videos. And I'm always mind boggled that people want to watch me collect eggs because to me it's so boring and mundane, but people like that kind of stuff. And so I'm like, you don't have to think super outside of the box. Like just start posting your everyday life. And as you start to get more comfortable with it, maybe you can get more creative with it, find your niche. But the biggest thing is just start posting, stop putting it off. Just record your morning routine, record whatever it is. Because everybody has their own personal opinions on their homestead of what bedding they like, their feed routine. Do they use automatic waterers? Post the chicken waters you use and why. Like, it doesn't have to be crazy.
Which platform you like TikTok better? I know you've posted about
Yes. Yes.
that. Tell us why you like TikTok better.
Not to offend anybody who loves Facebook, but Facebook, I always say, is like the Wild West. And I say this lovingly because I do have a lot of different age brackets of followers. And some of my most amazing followers who are super awesome are a lot older than me. But generally, the age range that I find on Facebook does not get my sense of humor. So whenever I have a viral video on Facebook, people are like, why is this dumb green-haired girl talking about chickens? Or I had somebody accuse me that I didn't even have chickens and that they were fake. And I was a big fake phony. And obviously I don't have chickens. And I'm just like, how, like, this would never happen on TikTok. They don't behave like this over there. I don't know if it's the algorithm. I don't know if it's just the vibe. I don't know what it is. But for me, people on Facebook are just meaner and just don't, it's just not the same. TikTok for me has just been so much better. The algorithm is better. I always post on both. I tell people all the time, I'm like, even if you think the video's dumb or won't do well on one platform, post it on whatever platforms you're doing. Because I will have a video go viral on TikTok, have 1 million views. I'll post it on Facebook and there's like nothing. And vice versa. I've had so many videos go viral on Facebook, which I usually end up regretting, and they'll get like 3 million views and it just sits at like 10,000 or something on TikTok. So the algorithms are just different. But in my opinion, people are just a lot nicer and more chill on TikTok than they are Facebook. And I think that's probably because they're pushing it out to the different random people that don't follow me on Facebook. So they're just not getting the vibe I put out there.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is,
Yeah.
is one, the monetization of one versus the other different?
I'm sure it is. I'll be totally honest with you. I don't know the exact, like what they pay. I will say on TikTok, the RPM, which is the rates per minute, so the amount you get paid per minute watched, it can fluctuate. I don't know if that's how Facebook is, but I know TikTok really fluctuates because if I am not doing great, I don't really care about that kind of stuff. I truly don't. But if I'm not doing great, I'm not posting videos that are constantly going viral, my RPM will be more. So the amount that I get paid may be, let's say, $1.10 a video or $1.10 per 1,000 views, whatever it is. Versus if I'm having a lot of viral videos and I'm like, oh, great, picking up traction, that RPM goes way down. So they don't have to pay you as much. So it can really fluctuate. And a lot of people don't know that. That's why if you see these really big creators that have 1 million views or followers, 1 million followers or 2 million followers, people think that they're just making bank. And they might, but it's probably not from the views because they probably have a 30-cent rate per minute instead of $1.20 that a smaller creator may have. Versus Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not 100% sure because I'm not great with technology, to be totally honest. I think theirs is more of a set rate. And Facebook also sometimes will do like bonuses. I've never seen a bonus from TikTok, but Facebook will do like bonuses for engagement. So if you have a post that does really well and gets a lot of engagement, they'll do random bonuses. They're just different, honestly. And as far as live goes, I'm not a live person. I know a lot of people make a lot of money on TikTok live versus I don't think Facebook Live pays very much. I'm not 100% sure, but I've heard that TikTok is better for lives because you have all the gifts. Like people will send, I'm sure y'all have seen, like you scroll and people are like, oh, thank you for the rose. Thank you for the rose. And they're trying to get the gifts, like they're doing reactments or whatever for the gifts. And that's because I don't think Facebook does that. So they're two different systems as far as payment goes. But for me, I make more on TikTok, but that's also because I am on there a lot more because everybody's just nicer.
Yeah. Do you find that this has just popped in my head and you may not know the answer, but do you know how Facebook will shut down pages or I don't know, penalize them for saying the wrong thing? Does TikTok do that too?
Yeah, so TikTok can definitely do that kind of stuff. I had one video, I can't remember what it was, something about our LGD, so our livestock guardian dog. Somebody probably reported it for animal cruelty, and they were like, TikTok was like, we're not going to pay you for this. And I was like, it was like a viral video too. So it must have been some, I don't know, vegan activist that was against dogs being outside. I have no idea. But
Oh,
so
Lord.
I was able to appeal it though, and it got put back on there. But I've had lots of TikTok creator friends who will post stuff about butchering their chickens and whatever, and it will be flagged and be like animal cruelty or violence or whatever. And so honestly, they're both the same as far as that goes. But I've never had a Facebook be penalized or anything like that, but I have had some TikTok flagged. But again, it could just be because I'm more active on TikTok than I am Facebook.
So I had a page before Brent's Roost. It was called Jen's Critters. And when I first got on Facebook, and one day we were actually driving into Atlanta when this happened. And I was just, you're riding, long car ride, you're scrolling your Facebook. And I told David, I was like, my page won't load. And And a few minutes later, I tried again, and I was like, my page won't load. And I
Ugh.
got to looking, it was gone. They had just deleted it.
Oh,
Give me any warning or explanation or anything.
that's terrifying. That's always been my fear. Like
crazy.
every time I get on my phone, I'm like, what if it's gone?
Because
Because they have that power.
I know,
Yeah.
and they don't tell you. It's just gone. And so I follow another person who teaches don't rest everything on social media because
Oh.
it's really only 10% of your business if you're trying to direct people to a website.
Yeah, social media. And that's why I tell people a lot because people always have this, and it's not a bad idea to have, but people are like, oh, I want to get big on social media so I can not have to work and quit my job. I'm like, and I'm probably doing it all wrong. I am not one of those people that's like hustling on social media and trying to get every penny I can out of it because to me, it makes it just a terrible job. I mean, because you have your phone with you everywhere, and it is a huge blessing. It's a great privilege to have. But I'm like, you generally don't make as much as people think. And even if you do, social media could disappear tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've been hearing about the TikTok ban for the last like 2 years. And that could happen. We could wake up one day and it's gone tomorrow. So I always tell people try to have multiple streams of income. You can quit your job if you feel that confident, but having multiple streams of income, whether that's doing like a Patreon or doing YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, not just TikTok, because it's super easy for something just to happen and it's gone. Even if the app stays, you could accidentally get locked out of your account or something.
Yeah. True. Hackers.
Yep.
All right. So let's go back to chickens. So what kind of chickens did you start with? And I know that you have this whole menagerie going on.
Yes.
But what is your favorite?
Oh, I love this question. I hate this question. Chicken math got me good and worked my way into avian algebra there. So I want to say I started with, honestly, I just went into Tractor Supply one day and was like, what can I get in here? And I was like, I'm just only going to get 10 so I can have enough eggs for my family. And that lasted 3 days before I got more. But I want to say I just got an assortment of pullets. I was at Tractor Supply. I think I want that color one and that color one. And you got a little assortment. And now I have so many. But I would say some of my favorites are definitely Buff Orpingtons. I'm so partial to them. I absolutely love their temperament. I love that they are great moms. They lay decent. So I really like Orpingtons. I really like mottled Duclays. I'm partial to them for a Bantam breed. I used to want to say Morans, but I like them. But if I had to pick only 5, they probably wouldn't be on there just because they're in my experience, they don't like the heat that much here in Texas. They're always my first ones to be like, yeah, you're not getting any more eggs right now. I would say olive eggers or Easter eggers. I like a good mixed breed. I like a little mutt. If I'd throw a mutt in there for sure. So I'd probably say Easter eggers or olive eggers just because I can do a lot with them. 2 more. My mind's just going blank.
Yeah.
I'm over here. I'm just excited she hasn't said silky.
I know. I was gonna say something. I was like, I got some silky hate this morning on Facebook. So
People either love them and hate them or hate them. And I'm in between. I'm like, I have them, but I'm like, your shared one brain cell kind of gets old sometimes. And they're not the hardiest. If I can only pick 5 breeds on my homestead, silkies or satins would not be on there because I'm like, you're not feeding me in the winter. You are not. The world's going to crap around me. You are not going to be feeding me or making stew. So I'm not going to. They're great incubators though. There's that. That's why I like to have them. Everybody's always, why do you like silkies? Because they don't lay very much. I'm like, when I lose power, which happens all the time, I know I can go take my eggs and there's going to be some broody silky out there. And there you go.
what's your biggest bird?
My biggest bird, like chicken or just like
Bird.
I would say
What kind of birds? Do you have other birds?
I have geese. So I was going to say my Sebastians are probably my biggest bird. Those are some hefty ladies. And then my cayugas are starting to get pretty chunky too. So I would say probably those are my biggest ones. As far as like chickens go, I don't have that many of the like really large fowl breed. Like I don't have any Brahmas actually, just because it's so hot here. I find like the bigger the bird with chickens, like they usually struggle a lot more in our really hot summers.
Cayugas, those are the ducks that lay the black eggs, right?
Yes. Yeah. if you're lucky.
Are
Short
they
season.
solid black, or is like the inside of the shell black?
So it's just the pigment that's laid on there. So if I go and I grab it right when they lay it, and if I wanted to like scrub on it or something, I could get that pigment off. So it's just the pigment that's laid on top of it as the egg is being created. It like deposits that color as they're laying it and it's coming out. But the earlier in the laying season, they do lay darker. And I have some that'll lay like really dark charcoal gray, but they just started laying. And I know as they continue to lay in the season, it'll get a little bit lighter. So it's only fun for a little bit. And then you get like light gray eggs, but they do lay the really dark ones.
Those are the eggs that you typically see the scammers put with the I am Samanis.
I
Yep.
have so many people. That's Facebook. Again, Facebook. Post a picture of the eggs and I'll have a couple of the black Cayuga ones in there. And everybody's always like, what? Chicken lays those black ones. And the amount of, no offense to anybody, generally men, not sure why it is. These older men think they know what they're talking about with AM Samanis, but they'll comment and they're like, oh, that's that AM. And they always spell Samani wrong. That's
Yep.
the one that lays the black eggs. And I just always like, no, it's not.
No.
Like, just stop. Fake news.
Going forward, what is your plans? I know you're expecting a newborn, so
Yeah.
everything get put on hold.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit. Oh, and just a side note there, you're due on my birthday. Just
No
letting-
way. Oh,
No
cool.
pressure.
I can have a-
So, taking the baby out of the equation, what's your plan going forward with the birds?
So my plan is to ship eggs. Obviously, I've already gotten my testing and everything. I'm just dragging my feet sending in the paperwork. But my plan is to ship eggs. I really want to focus on a couple of the breeds that are on like the livestock conservatory list, like the Sebastopol, the Cayugas, and focus on a few of those and just start shipping eggs. I might one day consider shipping chicks, but that is a big iffy thing for me because it's just a lot of responsibility. Like if eggs get lost, meh, okay, I'll send out more, but like chicks got lost. So I'm not sure really on that, but I really want to focus on being able to ship. And then I would really like to get more self-sufficient with our homestead where we are growing most of our own meat. I would love to actually be able to put something in the ground and grow it and not kill it. So I'd love to be able to grow most of our own fruit and vegetables and all of that kind of stuff. So we're just working towards being more self-sufficient and growing a lot of our own food, as well as being able to have the homestead support itself a little bit more, not from my social media, but from the actual animals itself. And so that's our goal going forward.
That's a good goal. Me and Carrie are both on board with eating our chickens.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a source of income in a way.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's money you're saving. So that's something we're really hoping to do.
Mm-hmm. We've got the 2 goats too. Are they just there or do they serve a purpose?
I'm hoping to be able to breed. I was going to breed them actually this year, so I would be able to have them kidding in the spring. But I realized I don't want to have a newborn and be having to milk goats in the morning. So we're going to wait on that. But we are planning on breeding them so we can do goat's milk, maybe make goat's milk soap. Because again, I always think like focusing on things that you're able to ship is great, especially when you're doing like social media and you have people that want to support you and you want to be able to ship things. Finding those things you can actually ship can be difficult because a lot of consumables, you run into a lot of laws and regulations. And so I'm looking at maybe doing goat's milk soap and then selling the babies locally.
The goat babies.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, not
We're going to clarify that.
Not my babies. I don't think anybody would want them. They're feral.
All right. And then you have another project that you're working on. It's getting released here in a couple weeks. Tell us
Yes.
about that.
So I don't like to call myself an author because that puts a lot of pressure on the old books, but I have written 2 novels. I went ahead and published my first one a year and a half ago, I think. And then my second one I'm getting ready to release within the next 2 weeks. And those are just kind of my hobby. Again, I'm really bad with monetizing things to its potential. Because for me, I'm an all or nothing type of person. So if I'm going to do that, it's going to end up feeling like a job for me. And I'm not really good at advertising stuff, which is really funny because people are like, oh, yes, you are. I'm like, no, it just happens. I just yap a lot. Like, I'm not good at actually meaningfully, advertising. But I do have a novel that will be published within the next week or 2. And those are just historical fictions. And again, the ADHD, I just am always thinking about stories and I'm a huge reader. And so I was like, I'm going to go ahead and write some books and just see what happens. And it's been really good. And I plan one day to make a poultry book. I have so many people who want me to write a chicken book. And I keep dragging my feet because I'm like, there's so many other people out there that have already made it. But at this point, there's a million people who do chickens on TikTok. So
Why not?
yeah. But I'm like, people are just so much smarter than I am. I'm like, I am not the poultry expert. Cause I always tell people, I'm like, I'm not a professional.
Yeah.
I'm just a crazy chicken lady who has a bunch of chickens and has been just really hyper focused on it for the last 3 years. But I'm not a professional. I don't ever want to give off that vibe. But so many people are like, I want a book that I can read that's like, you explain it to me in a way that I will be able to understand, dumb it down. And I'm like, that I can do. I can make it work for the ADHD brain where you don't want all this scientific information necessarily, because a lot of people do offer, which is great, very scientific explanations for everything and very professional sounding. Meanwhile, I'm over here, I say rooster or roo. And a lot of people are like, it's a cockerel or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yep.
Cockle-doodle-doo, there's your rooster. So I'm like, I might write like a hot mess homestead guide for chickens or something like that in the future where there's no pressure on me to be real professional, because that's just not going to happen.
All right. So what's the name of your new book?
The name of my new book is Lovely Shame.
And where could people find that?
They can find that on Amazon if you want a paperback, and then it's also on Kindle, and it's on Kindle Unlimited as well.
So before Thanksgiving?
Yes, hopefully. That's the plan. I'm like, I always am scared to give a date because, again, you never know what's going to happen, but it should be definitely before Thanksgiving.
Awesome. And if they lost my voice, and if they wanted to find you, that would be the Hot Mess Homestead on TikTok, Facebook. Anything else?
Technically on YouTube and Instagram, it's just a matter of will I ever post on there?
Yeah.
But I am on all the platforms.
Nice.
Carrie, you got any questions for Savannah?
I don't really have any questions. I feel like I know her really well because I am one of those 325,000 followers. I've watched quite possibly every one of her videos at least once. When you first told me about her, I was like, that name sounds familiar. Who is this person? And then she said, the green-headed chicken lady on TikTok. I said, I know who that is. So yeah, I already feel connected because I've watched all your videos and they are hilarious. And I personally like that it's normal stuff. Like you're normalizing the craziness that happens on a homestead. And I understand why you have so many views, because people want to see real. There's reality TV that's about as fake as it gets. And people get on TikTok and stuff because they want to see real. So
yes, yeah,
it works and I love it.
I appreciate it. It's been a huge blessing for me. And it just makes my day every single time that somebody's like, I just want to let you know that I relate so much to your videos, or I feel a lot less alone. I feel like such a mess, and not in a mean way, but I look at you and I feel less like a mess. But it's, I don't ever want people to watch my videos and be like, ma'am, she has her life together. And I just feel so bad about myself now. I'm like, no, we all have coops that need to be cleaned, and the water is never ending. And we may forget to go pick up a bag of shavings and have to go whole butt before they close and be that person. And like, most people don't have their life all together. And I feel like the more we can be honest with other people about not pretending we have it all together, people will feel just so much less alone and probably do a lot better.
The one series, or I don't really know how many videos about it you made, but was your black pants that people were losing their mind over you wearing those black pants out.
My fancy clothes in the chicken coop. Oh, yes. I was like, these are literally $7 black pants I got from Walmart. They're my PJ pants, but because I had, I guess, a nicer top on and I had some hoop earrings on, my hair was in the messy bun I'd worn the day before, and everybody was like, who does their hair? I'm like, thank you, but no, this is literally a messy bun. People just, and the comments I get on my eyelashes, because I have eyelash extensions, everybody, no farmer wears that much makeup or glues on eyelash extensions. And I'm like, okay,
there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good.
Yeah. I'm like, I literally leave my house. I was for a while. We're a lot busier now. But back then I was like, I leave my house once a week. I went to Tractor Supply. So I put on some little hoop earrings. I went and got all my pine pellets, and I recorded myself putting the pine pellets into the coop, but I changed into my PJ pants because I don't want anything with buttons if I don't have to. And Facebook, because again, Facebook was in an uproar about it. Just, this is the most fake stuff I've ever seen. And I'm like, so of course I was super sarcastic and made my follow-up video where I actually put on my nice high heels, my one pair of heels I have, and my fancy dress, and actually did my hair. And I was like, look, this is being done up to do chores. Let me show you what it would actually look like.
It cracked me up. So thank you for that.
It was an interesting time, that's for sure.
Yep. All right. Anything else you would like to add before we say goodbye for today?
I don't think so. I would just say, because I know the biggest thing that a lot of people want to take away from it is like social media and all that kind of stuff. And my biggest thing is to not compare yourself to other people on the internet. I know that sounds so cheesy, but it is super hard to do when you're trying to start, especially looking at other people, trying to see what kind of hashtags they're using, whatever it is. Like I always tell people, I'm like, post what you like and let it just take off from there and just post your real life. And people will start to relate to you and it'll organically happen. Even if it slowly happens, it doesn't happen overnight. Not everybody goes viral. That's okay. But I'm like, just don't compare yourself and just start off having fun with it. Don't immediately run with it like it's a job. And hopefully it will take off.
You've done well. And we all enjoy it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So
Thank you for joining us this week. Before you go, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you can receive new episodes right when they are released. And they're released every week. Feel free to email us at poultrynerds@gmail.com to share your thoughts about the show. Until next time, Poultry Pals, keep clucking, keep learning, and keep it exciting. This is Carrie signing off from Poultry Nerds. Feathers up, everyone.